Check out Elvis Presley right around 1968. I remember that. I saw that in a movie once. He was fantastic. It was a special, I think, on Channel 13 as well. Now look at Elvis 10 years later or so. Ooh, looking rough, looking rough. Well, the fame may have killed him. That's according to our next guest, Bill O'Reilly. He is the author of Killing the Legends, The Lethal Danger of Celebrity. He is the best-selling nonfiction author of all time. Bill, welcome back, and congratulations on this awesome book. How are you?
Good. I wrote it to protect you, Kelly, because you're getting to be a big celebrity, and I don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Well, I appreciate it, and I think you might be onto something. So, hey, what about Elvis? I mean, like, what was it about fame? In 1968, he had been famous for a while, and he seemed to be in control. But then the next 10 years, all hell breaks loose.
Let me backtrack a little. This is the 12th Killing book, the most successful nonfiction book series of all time. And the reason I did this as a historian, I look back on the country and turning points in the country. And Elvis Presley himself changed the entire country socially. Now, you weren't born yet, Kelly, but I was. I was a little kid. It was the 1950s, post-World War II, Dwight Eisenhower president, conformity across the land. Everybody looked the same, talked the same, no dissent, none of that. In the space of 6 minutes on the Ed Sullivan Show, Presley sang Hound Dog, and the whole culture of the United States crashed. Girls were screaming. Pastors the next day said Elvis was driven by Satan. Parents were telling their sons, you can't slick your hair back and wear a leather jacket. The whole culture blew up into more of a rebellious thing because of one man, Elvis Presley. And that's why I wrote about him and John Lennon and Muhammad Ali. All three of those people had a tremendously disruptive force in our American culture even today.
Who did the best at handling the fame? Elvis, they all had problems. I was actually curious about Muhammad Ali because, he seemed to have it all. He kept it together. He didn't crash and burn. He ultimately got sick, very, very sick, Parkinson's. But how did the fame actually do him in?
Well, he sold his soul to the Nation of Islam. And Elijah Muhammad was the leader, and then his son Herbert Muhammad became Ali's manager. And some of the best writing I've ever done, the opening portion of the Ali chapter in Killing the Legends, where Ali almost dies, literally dies, in the fight in Manila against Joe Frazier. Ali's doctor, Ferdy Pacheco, tells him and the Nation of Islam, you got to keep him out of the ring for a while. He's so damaged. He couldn't even walk for 2 weeks, Ali, after that fight. 4 months later, who's back in the ring? Muhammad Ali. Because the Muslims made him fight because they were taking much of the money that he earned. So, like the other two, Elvis and Lennon, Ali lost control of his life and trusted people who eventually harmed him.
You know, that sounds a little bit like Trump. He did trust some people, but I want to back up and say this about Donald Trump. He's been famous, household name famous for about 40 years. And he's managed to keep it together and even kind of build on it. Is Donald Trump uniquely skilled at handling fame in a way that these guys weren't?
I think Donald Trump's fame has hurt him. I wrote a book called The United States of Trump, and you're absolutely right. From age 10, he wanted to be famous. But he has to be in the center of attention every day. And in order to do that, you have to whip up controversy. You have to do things that ultimately, some of them came back and hurt Trump. I'll give you an example. A woman named Maggie Haberman writes for the New York Times. She has, over the years, excoriated Trump. Brutally excoriated him. He gives her access, 3 interviews for her new book, which is going to, again, rip Trump's throat out. Why would you do that? Because Trump wants to be the center of attention, even if it's negative attention. And I think that has hurt him. I think he would have been reelected, because he did do a good job as president, without all the so-called baggage of a controversy du jour.
Let me run this by you on Donald Trump, because I often wondered myself, why is he giving interviews to hostile reporters? But most people are not going to read Maggie Haberman's book, no matter how well it does, but they will see that Donald Trump is on the cover of it, and being famous, being out there every day might work to his advantage in terms of if he wants to be visible. Anyway, I guess I'm getting a little bit lost here.
Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. He's established. If Trump would just run on his record, and that's why I did the 4 history shows with him last December, okay? If he just run on that, he'd win. But all of the other crap, you're right, they're not going to read Haberman's book, but it's on social media every single day. Boom, boom, boom. You don't need that. It's debilitating.
Here's what I think he should do. And I want any piece of advice. First of all, the advice for everybody is to get this book, another gem, Killing the Legends, The Lethal Danger of Celebrity. I'm a big Rocky fan. Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3. In Rocky 2, Rocky goes from southpaw to right-handed. Do you think Donald Trump is capable at the right moment of changing his game, of doing something that nobody would expect, maybe reaching out to the left, doing something that only he could do, Nixon to China? Does that make sense? I feel like, I actually had this feeling when he came down the escalator after that speech that he could be a president who wins 49 states. I know, very naive and silly in retrospect, but I still feel like he has that potential.
Well, I did the first interview of him off the escalator, as you probably know, and I was surprised that he won the nomination. I thought that the machine, the Republican machine, particularly Jeb Bush, would defeat him. He won because of his so-called moxie, because he was an avenger and people are tired of standard politicians. But now he's a statesman. He succeeded. He ran the country well. You don't need Maggie Haberman anymore. But it's that fame, that addiction. Every day you got to get the juice. And it just overtakes people. Same thing with Biden. Biden gave up every principle he held, every one. Sold out to become president because the pathway was through the progressives. Biden was never progressive. He gave up his faith, his Catholic faith, by being an abortion zealot because he wanted the power. That's what fame does. It crushes people.
I guess
Presley was one of the most talented people on the planet, and he died at 42. Lennon had everything and became a heroin addict. Ali, management killed him. I mean, these are extraordinary stories for extraordinary times.
The book again, Killing the Legends, The Lethal Danger of Celebrity. Congratulations once again, Bill O'Reilly. Changed literature and changed television, and who knows what's next. Thank you, Bill, very much.
I appreciate you having me on, Greg.
All right, take care. We'll be right back.